Hey y'all, welcome back. Happy Friday. If you're new here, my name is Morgan, and here we do all things creepy, whether that be me telling you guys scary stories, talking about folklore, talking about scary books, scary movies. We do all of that here, and I post daily, so if that sounds cool, I would love to have you here. Please check out the description below because you will find podcast episode links. There's a new one that got posted today, three weeks late. I don't want to talk about it, but there is a new podcast episode. There is also social media links there and where to send in your scary stories. So with all that being said, let's read some stories. I knew my fiance Josh for 4 years, and we met for the first time July 14th of 2023. I never went home. Well, I had to pack up all of my stuff to bring here from Pensacola, Florida to rural Georgia. We live in Rupert, which is Taylor County. The population is less than 1,000, so a big change from what I'm used to. That included my cloth Ouija boards from New Orleans. A cloth Ouija board? Does it work well? Never heard of that. We put it in my sewing room and forgot about it. The room became full of junk, and last week we decided to clean it out so that I could sew again. He picked it up and had a bad feeling, so we burned it to ash and put a thick ring of salt around it on the back porch. Ever since we found it, we've had bad feelings. I'm an empath myself, and he's experienced things also. Well, fast forward to 3 days ago, we went to donate plasma. I left being an EMT to work as needed on the ambulance and stay-at-home husband and just do more DoorDash. And I couldn't because my blood pressure was so high, 180 over 160 and 150 over 180. They sent me to the ER, and I never had blood pressure issues. They think I'm having a heart attack. Thankfully, I'm not. I'm too young for that. I'm 28 and Josh is 36. The day after that, we have a big dog named Jax who's a big teddy bear. He never leaves the yard, never once has. Well, I tell Josh, I say we need to dispose of that ash board. Or that board ash. He gets it in the car and we pull out the driveway, and Jack sits in the middle of the road and gets hit by a semi-truck. I heard a menacing laugh when he got hit. Jax never leaves the yard, nor do our other puppies, because we have one of those invisible fences for dogs that make a sound so they stop. This happened right when we started deciding and got to go to get rid of the ashes. Prior to this, we had went to my hometown of Pensacola over Christmas and caught creepy audio on a ghost hunt saying, "Get out." I'll send this audio if you want. Well, it's video on our phone, but you can hear it clear as day, and you're welcome to use it if you wish. We cleaned and cleansed last night, and I've never been more scared in my life, honestly. When we were trying to light the sage, it took 30 minutes to get it to light. The residual energy did not want us cleansing our home. It feels like someone's watching me to the right of the area of the shed. The cleansing worked somewhat. I'm sorry this is so long, but we love and appreciate what you do. Our caution to folks is this: be careful even if you have abilities. We never even played with board together. I had previously. To us, these boards are dangerous and evil. You can never be too cautious with things like this. What should we do? On a side note, if you want more spooky curtains or dish rags embroidered, let me know. I don't charge for things I make because I don't want my craft to feel like a job. I enjoy it in my spare time. Oh, that would be so awesome. I don't know how long ago this was sent. Oh, I'm gonna definitely... This is more of a message to myself when I'm editing. I'm gonna cut out exactly how their dog passed away because that was really sad. So if I cut it out in a weird way and you were like, what happened to the dog? It passed away really sadly. I have okay, so I wonder if it had more energy because it was from New Orleans, because New Orleans is a notoriously haunted town. I just wonder, and I wonder if did the person who made it have bad intentions? I just know, because, there had to be something extra on top of the fact that it was just a Ouija board. And I want to know so much. The person that wrote this story said they had played it before. I want to know what happened and what they contacted. I have so many questions. I need to email them. I have so many questions. The dog, though. Alright, next story. When we were pulling in the driveway, I can distinctly remember this gut feeling and almost sickness in my stomach. I'm very empathetic, and I've always been able to see or hear stuff and feel it around me, if not physically see it. This one has stuck to my mind because I have only had a couple of negative experiences with spirits, and this one I felt the most vile and evil. I was staying in the room with bunk beds in it. There was a crib in front of the closet that we put there for my cousin. He was an infant at the time. He was not physically able to get out of that crib. Keep that in mind. Later, nighttime rolls around and it's about midnight. I'm sitting there on my phone, already up. I began to hear something crawling around my cousin's crib. So I get up and I look down, and what looks like my cousin, in the same outfit, is crawling around the crib. I chase him around for a little bit, and he keeps on speeding up, and for some reason I am not able to catch him. Then eventually, it stops and looks at me. This look horrifies me to this day. He had a blank, black, empty smile that stretched from both of his ears, the kind of smile that you see in a horror movie. He looked like he was about to say something, and I freak out and turn on the light, and my cousin's in the group crying. I felt this off presence around me for quite a few weeks after this. At this point, I'm back at my grandma's house, and I hear scratching and crawling at the door. It couldn't be any animals because my grandparents don't have any. I open the door and nothing's there, but I could still feel it, like it was right there. I quickly shut it and lit some green sage. Then I proceed to say with all confidence that I had in me, "You are to leave this house. You are not welcome. You do not belong here, and you are not to touch any of my family members or me." It has seemed to stop since then, but I'll say this one thing never again will I step foot in Heber, Arizona. Crawling it around the crib and not being able to catch it? Ew. Alright, next story. Me and my best friend at the time and her older sister were at their lake house in Wisconsin. Yes, the lake house was very close to the woods. Me and my friend and her older sister had the bright idea to go out for a walk at 11 p.m. after watching a scary movie. Which movie? Which movie? We leave. One big detail I should say is that the block the houses are on is sort of in a circle shape with two roads across, kind of like this, and they put like a dash O and dash. They go completely around the block, and you have to open a gate which leads to a couple other lake houses, including our lake house. While we're out, we're busy talking, so we're not paying attention to anything. But anyways, we were all about to go down the road that leads to the wooded area. Then I start to scare the other girls because I kept saying stuff like, "What if we all pass away?" or "What if we see a walker?" as a joke, but it freaked them out, so we turned around and walked back and around the rest of the block. We kept talking, and we're still not paying attention. All I remember was that all the streetlights were on, and there was at least one car in front of every house. Then suddenly everything goes quiet, like an eerie type of quiet. No animals, wind, no noise, not anything, just pure silence. This began to freak us out, but we just brush it off and keep walking around the block and towards the road on the opposite side. As I look ahead, I see that the road splits into two different roads leading different ways. The first road leads to the exact same houses on the exact same block we were on. I started to get this horrible gut feeling like something was wrong. We weren't where we were supposed to be. But again, I brushed it off and looked down the road, which led to a highway. Which was weird because at the time I didn't remember a highway being there. It seemed like a weird place for a highway to be. We all get this bad gut feeling, so we turn around and keep walking around the block. About 20 more minutes pass, and we realized we walked around the whole block without opening a gate. Like I said in the beginning, you have to open that gate to get around the whole block. There's no possible way to get fully around without doing so. We all get really scared. My friend takes her phone out, and we look at the time. It was 12:40. We originally left at 11. We think to ourselves that it wouldn't have taken us almost 2 hours to walk around a block. We look back up at our phone and look around, and everything seems normal again. It's brighter, and there's more cars, and you can hear the animals in the wind. So we start to feel way better, and we see the gate, so we start walking again. But this feeling like something isn't right is still there. We walk towards the gate to get back to the house. All three of us see this tall black statue that looks to have one of those medieval times doctor hats on. The ones where it looks like a bird. Oh, a plague doctor mask. We didn't know what it was, but we run. We run so fast we jump over the gate and run inside. We didn't know what we saw or what happened, but I personally think we might have gone into the back rooms or into another dimension or something. Another thing that sent shivers down my spine was because when we left that morning, the road that we thought split into two roads where I saw another block and a highway was only one road that led straight to nothing for around 5 miles. I know what I saw. We all saw the same thing that night. Though I'm not friends with them, this night will always haunt me forever. The things in the woods can trick you. They can make you get lost and lose track of time. You also could have wandered into a fae trap. So it could have been either of those two things. It's really hard to distinguish the two sometimes because they have like similar symptoms. That's terrifying though. I'm glad you guys were okay. I would have jumped over a gate too. Alright, next story. This story was from my high school days back in 2010. I grew up in a very rural town where there was nothing to do other than drink in cornfields or drive around. One night, a friend and I were cruising, as we called it. It was about midnight, and he was driving me back home to my family farm in the middle of nowhere. We were less than a mile from my house, and it was pitch black out in the middle of summer. Everything about this was normal. Except when we were approaching my road to turn, we both saw a little girl in a bright white dress pop up from a ditch off to our right. I knew he saw also because he slammed on his brakes before I even had a chance to react. He came to a screeching halt, and we both looked at each other with chills and tears in our eyes. Neither of us could speak. Finally, he said, "You saw that, right?" And I, of course, reassured him. We went back and forth on if we should turn around and go back to see. Stupid, stupid, stupid. We were stupid. We turned around and went back and got out of the car and were looking in the ditch at the edge of the road for what felt like 10 minutes. Obviously, we didn't find anything, but we both agreed that we saw what was there. He dropped me off and I went to bed. I remember vividly having a nightmare that I was being possessed by demons. My body was in an exorcism state. In my dream, my room was the same, my pajamas were the same, everything. It was like I was dreaming a memory. I finally jolt awake and I hear a loud grumbling coming from the side of my bed. It was my childhood dog, a border collie, who was run over by a tractor and didn't yelp or cry, never ever barked, would not go in our rooms unless it was storming outside. He was standing next to my bed staring at me with his tail between his legs, growling right in my face. When I finally woke up fully and said his name and reached for him, he bolted out of my room and wouldn't come back. Creepy, yes, but I thought nothing of it. The next day, my sister was home from school and said that her dog was just standing outside my bedroom door, looking at a corner of my bedroom, growling. She said he did that for 8 hours and could not be persuaded to move. By the time I got home after school, he had returned to normal, and I never had those experiences or dreams again, but that scared the absolute shit out of me. I'm still not sure what I experienced, but whatever it was, I'm not interested in seeing it again. What was that little girl? What was the little girl? Ew. So, you said it was on your road, right? Is there any, like, legends about your road? Do you live on the, like, notorious haunted, like, road in your small town? I need details. All right, next story. I'm from Michigan, and I just wanted to share my story with you. I'm pretty sure my grandparents' house is haunted. Backstory. This was my grandma's childhood home, and she's experienced a lot of deaths in that house, including her father and brother. When I was younger, around 2 to 3, I used to always tell my mom that a ghost is eating my hair. That might not be bad, but it gets worse. As years go by, I used to live with them all the way until I was 7, and my parents moved out while I was there. I always had these horrible dreams every night in my room. Only one time I ever got trapped in it, and by that I mean I couldn't open my eyes and I could feel them trying to open. Those dreams were so bad I used to bang on my parents' door screaming and crying until I moved to my house. After I moved, they stopped, and I barely have any dreams now. When I went to visit my grandparents, I went up to my old room. Keep in mind the door was closed, but suddenly I hear a knock on the door, and no one was up there but me. So I go downstairs with everyone else. When I was upstairs again, around 20 to 30 minutes later, and the door was open, nobody was up there. That was about it. I just wanted to share my story with you. Please don't touch me. Stop. Stop, stop. Well, that's terrifying. Oof. Alright, next story. For a little context, my family's had a lot of encounters with shadows or voices, but most importantly, my grandma's aunt has like a gift. I don't know how to put this, but she can predict things that'll happen in the family through dreams. It's not intentional and she has no control over it. My mom has a cousin who was in his 20s. He was a drug addict and he was really violent. He had a partner and a kid who he usually didn't treat very well. They were kind of tired of it. One time my grandma's aunt dreamed of something bad happening in the city my cousin lived in, which was sort of far away. The days passed and a family member, I don't really know who, got robbed. Everybody thought that that was it, but one night my cousin, who was in the house at the time because he had a fight with his girlfriend, got a call from her telling him to come over to fix things. My mother begged him not to go, but he ended up going alone. I feel like everyone knew what was going to happen. He got there and was greeted with his girlfriend and her father, who had a pew. They were obviously tired of the abuse and decided that they were going to put an end to it. Shot him in the chest, and sadly he didn't make it. Everyone was devastated, and my grandma's aunt later said that she also dreamed of his mom crying in a casket. It was a very depressive episode for his mom and for the whole family. My mom, who was really close to him, blamed herself for not going with him, but I think that if she went, I would have a mother. So a lot of paranormal things started happening, but I don't want this to be a really long story. If you want to know more about them, let me know. Oh God. With that, I think we will end this video. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I was looking to see, so tomorrow you guys will be getting a creepy TikToks video that I've found, and Sunday you guys will be getting more scary stories that you guys sent in to me, but just haunted houses. So that's really exciting. I'm so excited. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow.